Hello everyone. The topic of today's video is what is the real cost of meat? And before I jump into that, I'd like to show you my t-shirt. Here we go. So here we go, friends not food. You can see animals, you've got a pig, got a dog, got a cow. And this is the farm animal rescue operation. And you can see here's their website. So you can go and check out some of the great things that these guys are doing. And also, if you feel like you can donate some money to actually help them out, help them with their activities. So now I'm going to get back to what I was going to present. What is the real cost of meat? So I'm sure some of you have seen the documentary Calspiracy. You know, it's a very interesting documentary. A lot of it goes into the actual environmental costs of actually raising cattle and actually before they get, and a lot of those costs are not actually accounted for in the price that you're paying. So a lot of that is paid indirectly for other ways, but not actually over the counter price. So what are these additional costs that we're talking about? So for example, water pollution. 2,500 dairy cows actually produce as much waste as a city of 411,000 people. It's quite amazing, isn't it? Also as well, in regards to greenhouse gases, animal agriculture produces 18% of greenhouse gases, which is actually more than the transportation sector. In terms of water, would you believe it? For just 1 pound of meat, requires 2,400 gallons of water, which is compared to just 25 gallons for 1 pound of wheat. And also in terms of food, one cow requires between 45 kilograms to 70 kilograms of food a day. And also as well, it's the amount of land these animals take up, which is quite tremendous when you think about it. As you can see on the slide, it's 1/3 of the Earth's ice-free land. So land that can be used for something, 1/3 of it is actually going to livestock for one reason or another. And on top of that as well, if you're a meat eater, you eat plenty of meat, there's plenty of illnesses and things that you can actually get from eating meat and pork and all of that. And it relates to cancer being one of those. As you can see from the diagram, it's one of the main causes of cancer. So what Meatonomics have actually done is actually try to put a value on that. So you've got the retail price you pay at the counter for your Big Mac, and they've also included a number of other costs as well relating to healthcare, which is actually pretty high in terms of extra costs of healthcare to cater for people that have, should we say, meat-eating related diseases, as well as the environment and the cost of cruelty. All of this though is in reflection of your tax dollars. So from what I can see, I don't think this actually goes far enough. That's what we're paying. But what about the life of a cow? So well, what is that? Or life of any matter? Well, what are these lives actually worth? Because when you're eating a burger, an animal has to die for that. So if you're eating a Big Mac, it's beef, so a cow's got to die for that. So what is the value of that cow's life? So some of you may be aware that there's something known as a value of statistical life, and there's a number of different values on that. So I've used the Environmental Protection Agency's value of 9.1 million, and that is in 2011 dollars. So what I've done is I've adjusted that using inflation to get us to 2016/2017 prices. So that takes us up to about 10.87 million. So that's been using an inflation rate of approximately 3% per year. So again, that's the value of a human life. So what about the life of the animal? What about the life of the cow that actually goes into your burger? So what I've done is I've adjusted the value of a human life, your $10.8 million, and I've adjusted it for intelligence. So I've also adjusted it for life, length of a life expectancy. So how have I adjusted it for intelligence? So we've got something known as an Encephalization Quotient, and that is calculated based on your brain weight and body weight. So it's not a direct relationship, and there's a little bit of controversy around how that should be done, because we've got the brain weight divided by the body weight. So the larger the brain, the more intelligent, but then the larger the body as well. So the largest animals, you'd say like the elephant, so if you base it just purely on brain size, they would be more intelligent than humans, which is not the case. So it has to be adjusted for body weight, but how much does that need to be adjusted? I think that was the question. So what we've used here is 0.66, but there's a number of other figures that have been used as well. I think 0.56 as well. But for this presentation here, I've just investigated using 0.66. So again, how how do you actually get the quotient? So you get the encephalization factor, brain weight divided by body weight times 0.66, and you get that number, and then you divide it by the average for the group of mammals you've looked at. By the way, you should just use this for mammals, because again, it varies across different species and all that. So you've got something that's fairly consistent for mammals. I've also factored in the age and life expectancy to that as well. So if you're looking at the value of a human life, you're looking at approximately 80 years of life. And effectively, your life could be cut short any time along those 80 years. So in effect, it's an average of that. So if you've got a much shorter life expectancy, as most animals tend to do, you actually have to adjust that downwards. Again, I'm using their natural life expectancy. I'm not using the life expectancy if they're living on a farm. So as you can see here, we've got a table here. So I've looked at a number of different animals, looked at their body weight, their brain weight, their life expectancy, and also the value of statistical life. So the two I've highlighted out here are cows, because we're looking at the Big Mac, and also humans by comparison. I've also got a number of other animals down there as well. So I'm not entirely sure how accurate this encephalization quotient is, because we see a few numbers there that look a little bit low, like pigs, for example, are very intelligent animals, haven't scored particularly high because their brain size to body weight doesn't quite match up with some of this. So there's a bit of inconsistency here and there, but it's just to give us a generalized idea of comparison of intelligence. So again, we look at the human life, so we've got about 10.8 million, and then we look at the life of a cow. So once that's been adjusted for the encephalization quotient, and then it's been adjusted for age. So we've got humans 79 and a cow's age of about 20 years. So that gives us a value of statistical life of a cow of around 233,000 approximately. So okay, so now we're going to calculate what is the cost of a Big Mac. So a Big Mac contains two 45.4 gram pâtés. That's what I got off of Google. They might have changed it, but let's assume that. So you adjust that to kilograms, that's 0.0454 kilograms for a pâté. So how many Big Macs can you get out of a cow? So again, I did a little bit of research in terms of how much meat can you, and that is all the possible meat you can actually get off of a carcass of a cow. So you've got about 201 kilograms. So I've divided that by the amount of meat required for one Big Mac. So it gives us 2,215 Big Macs per cow. Sounds like quite a few, but we'll work out what that is in terms of the cost per Big Mac. So we get that figure we had just now, the value of the statistical life of a cow. So we've got 233,181, and then we divided that by the 2,215 Big Macs. And that actually gives us an additional cost of $105.39. That's just for the one burger. So what does that do to the actual price of your burger? So I've taken the Meatonomics figures that they already had in terms of what goes out to the taxpayers and all that. And again, this is in US dollars, I believe. So again, I don't know what year this is in, so those probably have to be adjusted slightly anyway. But for the sake of this video, I've just tacked on the life of the cow to the numbers produced by Meatonomics. So they had $12. So we tack on our $105.39. And now the cost of a Big Mac goes all the way up to $117.39. So you can imagine if that was what McDonald's were charging for a Big Mac. How many people do you think would get in their restaurants? I think it would probably look something like this. You'd get an empty restaurant. I don't think people would be willing to pay $117 for a Big Mac. It's a lot of money to pay for a meal. And that would be across all sorts of meat as well, anything that's got meat. So you're going to have very, very expensive meals with meat in it if we charge that price, which I believe is the actual cost of what a Big Mac should be in terms of all of the environmental things that we mentioned earlier, the health costs and the cost of the life to the animal, if we're respecting that animal as a sentient being, which currently is not the case. So this was a reasonably simple exercise that I've done. So there's a lot more going into this, and I don't particularly like putting dollar values on lives, not even on human lives. It simplifies things a little bit. But I did this for this video just to give you an idea of what the cost of meat is if we're treating animals as if we would with humans, and we're adjusting again for life and intelligence and all of that. If we're, again, assuming that intelligence is what gives life value. Again, I don't know whether that's a very good way of doing it, but I think it adds a certain amount of value. So you could take a plant or something that has pretty much no intelligence, and you wouldn't have a value generated there. So Again, there could be other ways, and in time I'm probably going to come back to this and actually reassess my approach to actually evaluating the life of an animal. But for now, I've got this, and this figure I think gives us a reasonable idea of the cost of a Big Mac, the cost of meat when we eat, compared to if we go vegetarian, where you wouldn't have that cost at all, plus all the other environmental stuff that's been mentioned in other programs such as Calspiracy and what Meatonomics have done. So again, before I go, just show you my t-shirt. Remember, friends not food. Go check out their website. And remember, if you want to do the environment a favor, and if you want to do the animals a favor, turn vegan. Thank you very much. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to click the like button. And if you'd like to see more videos along similar lines relating to economics, maybe even veganism, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I'll be uploading some videos fairly shortly. I'd like to introduce my pal here. Say hello, Remy. You might even see more of him as well. Thank you.